Hello, all of you vainglorious, you wonderful people. This is the Declasse Tulip, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. Of course, this isn't a vehicle that anybody's actually voted for because it hasn't been released yet, and I'm testing this in story mode via PC mods. But I will be resuming voting, maybe not next week, but probably the week after that, where I will actually be recording the cars that you guys have voted for. So make sure you click the link in the description down below. Go vote for the vehicles that you'd like to see featured in Move It Off-Road. And, well, the top two will be in that first video when I finally get back to that. But I wanted to test some more of the Arena War cars because why not? I mean, they're new, they're fresh, they're upcoming, and, you know, if me doing a silly little test up a mountain helps somebody determine whether or not they want to buy a vehicle, well, so be it. Muscle cars tend to not fare the best on Mount Chiliad, simply because, you know, they put a lot of spin at the rear wheels. Not that type of spin, but that type of spin too. A lot of torque at the rear wheels, a lot of weight, and not a lot of grip. Factor all that together and put a hiker on the hood, and you just wind up with issues where, you know, problems can happen. So the nice thing about this, though, is it's able to get some speed, and it's able in kind of that mid-range. I don't know if you can really hear the engine all that well, but I'm pretty much keeping the revs, the accelerator, I should say, you know, about halfway. Had a little bit of an issue trying to find some grip back there, but, you know, otherwise it's actually finding, you know, a place in that power band that the power is actually usable. And that's what we run into so much with the muscle cars, is it's either not enough power to move the car forward because of all the weight, or it's too much power on the wheels to spin, and muscle cars get stuck. But this is actually a little more pleasant. Still not the easiest to drive. It does seem to want to always spin. I don't know if you noticed at the very beginning, you may want to go back and rewatch it. But about 2 minutes ago when we launched, and it did the wheelie, it pulled to the right. And it's constantly pulling to the right, but at the right rear. It's a very weird thing, and I'm constantly fighting it. And it displays, as you just saw when it went up on two wheels, a bit of that characteristic that we saw with the Vamos in the snow. Oh, I got them both. Anyways, whereas that characteristic the Vamos has, where it wants to kick a wheel up sometimes too, when you're cornering in the mountain or on the mountain under speed. So kind of weird thing. I don't know what's causing that. Let's blame the advanced handling flags and move on. But it's not doing too bad, honestly. I mean, it's no vapid cleek in the snow. In fact, I really need to test that car in dry weather and just to see what it can get. Because it's holding a good number in the snow compared to all muscle cars. But we have a decent little climb up the side here. Went a little wide, but, you know, overall, this has been a pretty good run for the Tulip. So, will it off-road?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, and she's right. It did okay. It did fine. It puts it 6th with that time out of 19 muscle cars that I've tested. So we're going to take it back down to the mountain, or back down the mountain, and see what we can do for a controlled descent. And, you know, and I sometimes wonder if this isn't the more important test that we do, because, you know, a lot of your times that you get into trouble, there's two main areas you get into trouble when you're off-roading in GTA that aren't water. When you're still on ground. One is when you get into something too steep for whatever car you're in. Some cars, that can be a tiny little hill. Some vehicles can go near vertical. But every car has their limit of what is too steep, and then you just start, you know, spinning your wheels. You know, some cars, their front wheels will actually come over off the ground and you tip backwards. Others, you just start spinning and you wind up sliding down sideways. And you get into trouble that way. The other place you get into trouble is when you're trying to come back down from something and you can't keep the car under control. And you wind up, you know, flinging yourself towards the ocean or a lake or a stream, you know, anything that could damage your car. So that's why I think that maybe the controlled descent might be one of the more important. And as you can see, the Tulip's kind of giving me a ride here. It's definitely wanting to bounce around. With it being a muscle car, the back end does want to keep coming out, but more so than a lot of other muscle cars I've tested. I know it's hard to see because it's a very minor one, but there's a spoiler on this car to help with traction. So that's not the issue causing it to spin. We all know that you put any spoiler on the car and you're good. I really thought I was going to go flying off the side with that, with it just kicking around like it was, but managed to hold it together. Again, a wild ride down the mountain. It was actually a lot of fun. I know it looks like it's way out of control, and there, when we spin out, yeah, sure, things have gone beyond the brink. But for the most part, I was able to bring it back into control, even when it was getting wild on me. So, you know, not too bad. You know, would I take a muscle car off-roading? No, of course not. It doesn't have the ground clearance for rocks and the height to be able to go through water and all that. But in a pinch, if you have to. You know, this one's not bad. Pardon me, need a little bit of water there as we hit the tree. You can hear my clean canteen lid being screwed back on. Just coming down the last couple little bends here, the back end defiantly kicking out one last time. We're down 2 minutes, 47 seconds. So let's go back to the top of Mount Chiliad and drive off the side of a ramp and see what type of damage this car takes. I love having the birds flying around in story mode and the cable car going. The world feels so much more alive. So a few weeks ago, I recorded the Deviant in the snow. I still haven't ever featured that footage. You may remember I mentioned this a video or two ago that it blew up every time I tried to do the damage descent, even though I had a full armor. So every time I do the damage descent, I'm really nervous now with these arena war cars that they might blow up on me. Thankfully, that's been the one outlier, was the Deviant. This one, as you can see, I mean, it has some broken windows, but it's not really taking damage. In fact, this thing takes so little damage during all this that I thought maybe, you know, since I was using mods, that I might have had like the car invincibility turned on. I had to double check once I got to the bottom and it wasn't turned on, and then I went and danced with the train for a little while just to make sure the car really could take damage. And it lost the door, it lost the hood doing that. But here in the damage descent, you know, slamming into boulders, flying down a mountain, it's actually doing all right. Get a little stuck now and then. But aside from that, I mean, yeah, broken windows. I think there's a headlight out at this point. The taillights are on. Yeah, there's a headlight. There's a headlight out. I don't know, Michael. What is this shit, man? But there we go. Spin it back around. So I want to know what you guys think. Is this a Chevelle or is this a Malibu? Or is that a trick question that I just asked? Could be both. Could be all three. Maybe. But I'd love your comments. I see people arguing about what this actually is. And some people making the argument that it's both. So, anyways, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think it is. I have my own thoughts, but I'm not going to share just yet. I'll let you know once we get a few comments in.
What is this bullshit?
Managed to nail the wood pile. That was kind of... that was one of the best hits we've had in a while. Beautiful chrome fuel tank there that we get a nice look at. We are down for the damage descent. Almost took out a biker. 2 minutes, 21 seconds. Let's take a look at the damage on the Tulip. All the windows are gone. One headlight's out. Slightly bent wheels and almost unnoticeable denting. You'd have to pause the video and really be able to see it. But that is going to bring us to our next vehicle, the Principe Deveste 8. So, Devastate. Yeah, we all get it. Rockstar, Devastate. Anyways, the lone supercar. Is this the only supercar that came out with arena warrants? Or is it coming out with arena warrants? I think it is. I know you guys will let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the only one. I don't really like this car. I'll be honest. I don't like the looks of it. I don't like the X80 Proto sound of it. I do think it's kind of cool that it almost sounds. You can almost see like electric motors in addition to the turbo. If you listen really close, there's a whine there that isn't a blow-off valve. It's not a supercharger. It sounds like the electric motors in this game. You have an electric car, so it's kind of cool. It's kind of hard to hear at times because it's just there under the sound of the engine, and of course I'm running my mouth, which makes it even harder to hear the car anyway. There we go. We had 3, maybe 4 good shots of that sound. I don't know. It really sounds like there's electric motors in there as well, which would explain a lot. It's a quick car. I mean, I doubt it's going to be doing, anything with lap times or top speeds, especially once I got it out on the highway and played around with it for a little bit. I don't think it's going to do anything with top speed. This is only the second time I've ever driven this car. The first you saw way back in my hidden vehicles video. I drove it around the block, and now you're looking at the second time. Normally I've started doing practice runs in cars, but this one turned out so well that I just went with my first run. There are a couple little issues here and there, but for the most part, I think this is a great run, and I doubt, considering I was recording these at like 3 o'clock in the morning and I was exhausted, that it would have been any better. And I doubt I would have gotten better, but look at that. I think that's our first ever wall ride in Bullet Off-Road. And I think it also, that's the one little issue that may cause a little controversy. And you'll see what I'm talking about once we finally get to the top and we look at the time that this thing turns in. But it's doing well. Look at that. So we're just now over the 2-minute mark and we can see the peak. I mean, we're almost there. So really impressive, actually. I mean, especially considering that this is a rear-wheel drive supercars. Most of the supercars that have gotten up this quick are all-wheel drive, every one of them. In fact, in the top 10, this is the only rear-wheel drive supercar. There's only 3 that have broken the 3-minute mark that were rear-wheel drive out of a bunch. We're up 2 minutes, 37 seconds. Will it off-road? Yes, and it's just over half a second into second place, just behind the Nero Custom. That does make it the 4th fastest overall vehicle, though. We've got the Trophy Truck, the Desert Raid, the Nero Custom, and this. So an interesting mix up here at the top. Of course, I know people will be like, no, the Buzzard's first. Okay, fine, whatever. I still don't really count the Buzzard as legitimate. That was more, because, hey, this is a helicopter. By definition, it is an off-road vehicle. Because the air is... Anyways, I'm still bitter about it. So, yeah, there's what I was going to point out about this car. It sits really low to the ground. In fact, up there at the top of the mountain, when I was getting the side view shot in first person, I had trouble finding a place that the tires... Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh, we're in trouble. No, we're not. Never mind. It's easy car to control. It is an easy car to drive. I'll give it that. No real challenges. It has a lot of grip. It goes. It brakes well. But it does sit very low to the ground. And as I say, I was having trouble finding a spot where something of it wasn't clipping to the ground. There is a lowered suspension option in Los Santos Customs for this, and it causes... It's hard to see because we're looking at the ASCENT of the car. Oh, poor puppy. It's not really a puppy, a coyote. It's hard to see with the front wheels occasionally clip through the fenders. It's really strange. It only does that on the lowered suspension. It's really bad. So, yeah, it sits really low, and because of that, we wound up doing, a forward flip earlier, because the front clip just caught on something. You can see that the car is doing the thing that we've seen in a couple of muscle cars from this DLC, wanting to kick up on the 2 wheels. Oh, I really thought we were going to go fly in there. I really thought we were going to go over. But overall, it's not bad to drive. It does have some quirks, but nothing that can't be managed. I can't wait to see what it does around the track once this car is actually released in like, what, 6 weeks from now, probably? Yeah, it'll probably be the end of February, first part of March that we finally get this car. Who knows? I don't know that I'm going to buy it, though. I just don't like the looks of it. I just don't. I don't like the looks of the car it's based on in real life. Besides, that car in real life is a joke. And I don't like the looks of it here in GTA either. But it is down in 2 minutes, 33 seconds. Wow, man, no need to be so offensive. Jeez. But we are back to the top of Mount Chiliad. And I do love how Deveste and 8 are written in those grills on the rear in the script. I think it looks really nice. Very nice touch. So, one more damage descent. Again, I was nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, I hope it doesn't blow up on me, but nah, it does just fine. No explosions. Though I do think it smuggles out 1 or 2 boulders from the mountain up its tailpipes, because those tailpipes are massive. And pardon me, I know I yawned just a minute ago. I'm very, very sleepy. While this video was rendering my previews so that I could actually edit it, I took a little bit of a nap, and well, now I'm kind of sleepy because of that. I was already sleepy anyway. So I got a boulder in the way, kind of just ram it because I couldn't go over it because this thing just doesn't have the clearance to do that. So, you know, yeah, it has one heck of a really good time to climb the mountain. But again, I could not in any way recommend that you actually take this car off-roading when it comes out. The first puddle it sees, it'll drown. And of course, you can see just how it fights with actual terrain. Yeah, sure, it has the grip and everything to go through the dirt really quick, but yeah, I can't say you should take any supercar really off-roading. Especially one that does some of the weird stuff we've seen with this one, where it likes to pull up an entire side when you do a whole lot of steering input at speed. Still, it is a fun car to drive. I don't know, I really am torn about whether or not I'm going to buy this car. I mean, I don't like the sound, I don't like the looks, but I did enjoy driving it. And how often do we get to say that anymore? With Rockstar, you know, doing all their weird things with advanced handling flags, that a car is truly enjoyable to drive. And this was a lot of fun to drive. Making our final little climb here, back up to, whoop, there we go, back up to the asphalt, and we're down 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Let's take a look at our damage, which there's not a whole light. The headlights are out, most of the windows are gone. There is significant paint damage, but aside from that, it's looking pretty good. And that's going to do it for this Will It Off-Road video. There will be a special Will It Off-Road later this week in recognition of 5,000 subscribers coming up here on the channel, as well as a Q&A opportunity and a channel update finally. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that, and make sure you go vote for the vehicles you want to see in upcoming Will It Off-Roads. And until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.